You know, I know that the story of Superman has nothing pertained to my particular story. You know, he is from Krypton. He's not real. He has superpowers. You know, etc., etc. The one thing we do have in common is he is from Kansas. Of course, there is no Smallville, Kansas, but you know, it's funny. Practically every town in Kansas is small. I mean, we've got everything from towns of 50 or less to towns of a few thousand. You know, the town I come from, that I grew up in, Bushton, Kansas, was a town of 400. So maybe we do have a little bit in common. Thus, it is obviously a no-brainer when considering that I was in Metropolis, Illinois. That is the town that claims Superman. You know, it's odd, but to the best of my knowledge, there is nowhere in Kansas that tries to make a Superman connection. You know, liberal Kansas has an attempt at making the connection to the Wizard of Oz, but I don't believe there's anywhere in my home state that tries to do the same connection that Metropolis, Illinois does. So, since I was there, I have to see the sights, you know, and here are a few of them. Obviously, the place you want to go when you're in Metropolis, you have to see the giant Superman statue, which I did, and here he is right here at a place, Superman Square. It's the Superman Museum, and it's just right around the corner. And here's a giant mural that is honor to many of the Supermans of the past. Well, it's been another day. It's roughly about 6 o'clock on my first day, June 18th. 2012. In the background there you can see where I am. That is the back of Superman, the giant Superman statue here in Metropolis, Illinois. I know it doesn't have anything to do with my search for my family, but since I'm staying here, I mean, come on, gotta go check out the Man of Steel. I'll see if I might be able to get a front view, but he gets a lot of attention. This I'm walking around is the, I think it's called Massac County Courthouse in Illinois. It is the town square is called Superman Square, and it just kind of struck me, interestingly enough. Superman grew up in a small town, Smallville, Kansas, and now Metropolis, Illinois, another small town. So interesting how things connect. One of the other sites there in Metropolis that I guess I really wasn't aware of, even though I kind of knew from the map that it was there, is the Ohio River. I kind of stumbled across it looking to find Superman Square again, and I thought, well, I'll just see how close I can get and take a few pictures from there. And remarkably, maybe it's my Kansas naivete that is playing the factor here, but remarkably I was able to get just basically almost down to the water, because they do have a ramp where if you have a boat, I guess, or whatever, you can actually get out onto the Ohio River. So here's a touch of me from the Ohio River relaying the events of the day. Well, I'm here at the Ohio River. Definitely not something you're going to see in Great Bend, Kansas. The bridge across there is, a train is going across, so that answers some of my questions as to, it didn't look like an actual road. Obviously it's just a railroad track. I just came from the Superman Museum here in Metropolis, and while I'm glad I went, it was interesting, it kind of lacked a little zing, because it was basically just whatever was associated with Superman thrown into a building, you know, and I was hoping for a little more narrative, you know, a little more, you know, these are the actors who played Superman in the movies. This is, they didn't have anything on Jerry Siegel and, I can't think of who else it was that created Superman in the comics. Didn't have anything on the comics, but maybe it was just for the movies, I don't know. But a little disappointment. If they asked me, I would put a little more narrative in there for people to read, because I couldn't help but think in my from my Washington trip, where I went to a number of places and I rushed through, I thought, okay, this is a museum, I'm going to stop and I'm going to read everything. well, there wasn't very much to read. Basically look at this Superman doll, that Superman outfit, and after a while it just didn't quite work. This will obviously be my conclusion here in Illinois, heading on into Kentucky to the campgrounds over there in Calvert City. I will be anxious to see what I can find when I get to Kentucky, because here in Johnson County, Illinois, my ancestors were here just basically from 1859 to 1866, and not much of a record to pull up there. I did get some land purchases from a Littlebury sexton and also a Burton sexton. I'm not sure if he's part of my sexton line or not, but he apparently knew Littlebury, so maybe he is. I got some marriage information. The birth records, I was disappointed because they didn't go back any further than 1878, so I missed the birth records for Melissa Jeanette Sexton and Emma Ann Holt, my dad's grandmother. But we'll see what we can find when we get to Kentucky and Tennessee. Here's a long shot of where the Superman statue is in Metropolis at Superman Square. It is adjacent to the Superman Museum, which I am standing in front of right here. And here's a few interior shots, me with Clark Kent, a figure representing the figure that George Reeves represented in the TV series. Here's the glasses that George Reeves wore as Clark Kent. And here's some kryptonite, I believe they used in the series itself. As I said in my stint by the Ohio River, it was interesting to see all this stuff, but there's no narrative to it. There's no logic. There's no story that they were saying that this is how Superman began, this is where he progressed to. Here's some hair pieces that Christopher Reeve wore in the Superman movies that he was in, and that's one of his suits that he wore. And you kind of need a story when you have a museum to say, this is what we are showing, this is how this character began and where he is now. And it was interesting, but it could have been better. Well, this is my last day here in Metropolis. It is early morning, probably around 9:30 on the 21st of June. I've got all my bags packed, leaving the hotel here, the Motel 6. And I didn't see any reason to hurry about things because my next stop in Calvert City, Kentucky is only half an hour away. So, now, realistically, if I had been more sharp, I would have been up and gone by now, because in Kentucky, in Lyon County, I only have today and then tomorrow to look through whatever records there might be. Hopefully the library would be open on Saturday so I could find something there, but this is where I stayed, the Motel 6, a very nice place, very affordable, I thought. And right across the street there is a BP gas station, and that is where I'm heading next to fill up with gas and put a quart of oil in the old car, and hopefully the old car will run a little better every day. I might also state a little bit about what I found and my little disappointment about not having any birth records available prior to 1878. That's basically when a lot of my family was in this area. But the land records were interesting, because I did find, Littlebury and Burton, though I'm not sure if Burton is related to my line or not. And I'm hoping that in Kentucky, with more sextons there, I might find some more information. And this was kind of a dry run, you might say, into the areas that will be more populous in my family.